To graph a polynomial function by hand, we'll start by determining the end behavior of the graph, which can be done by considering the power function that the graph resembles at infinitely large values of x. We'll find the zeros in multiplicity, determine whether the graph crosses or touches the x-axis. We'll plot those x-intercepts and also determine the y-intercept. We'll then get a rough sketch of the graph by hand and then check our answer using a graphing calculator. Let's move through these steps with an example. Here we have a polynomial function f at x, and we're asked to analyze the graph using the steps that we outlined above. The first thing that we're after is the power function that the polynomial will resemble at infinitely large values of x. That power function is going to be y is equal to the leading term once the polynomial has been entirely multiplied out. But multiplying out the whole function could take a long time, so we focus our attention on looking at the degree of the polynomial, which is determined by adding the powers on all the x's up. We see that this is going to be a fourth degree polynomial that is then multiplied through by a -2, so that leading term is -2x to the fourth, plus there would be a lot of other terms that follow if we were to multiply that out. But all we need for that power function is the leading term. So our function f at x is going to have similar in behavior to this power function. And since the power function has an even degree and a negative leading coefficient, it means that our function f will also be opening down on the left and down on the right. In part C, we're going to complete the table by identifying the zeros and their multiplicity. Since our function is in its factored form, it's not too hard to find the zeros. The zero of a polynomial is an x value that causes the output to be 0 or the y value to be 0. So essentially we're solving this function. And the x values that solve this function are x is equal to -1, x is equal to +1, and x is equal to +3. These are the x values that when plugged into the function will cause an output of 0. Notice we do not get a 0 from a constant multiple on the front. We do not get an x-intercept there. That constant multiple on the front simply stretches out the function. Now, each of the real zeros does generate an x-intercept. So we can turn each of these zeros into an ordered pair to get the x-intercepts. And then in order to determine the multiplicity of each zero, that's where we're going to be looking at the power on the factor that generated the zero. So to get the multiplicity of x is equal to -1, this is the factor that generated that 0, and its power is 2, so the multiplicity of this 0 is 2. To get the multiplicity of x is equal to +1, the factor that generated that 0 is x minus 1. Its power is +1, so this multiplicity is +1. To get the multiplicity of x is equal to 3, the factor that generated that 0 is x minus 3. Its power is +1, so the multiplicity of this 0 is +1. Since the multiplicity of this 0 is even, the graph will touch the x-axis at this x-intercept. Since the multiplicity is an odd number here, the graph will cross the x-axis at this x-intercept, and the same goes for this last x-intercept. We will also be crossing. And now in part D, we're asked to find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we'd plug in x is equal to 0 and solve for y, but basically that's the same thing as evaluating the function at 0. So plugging in 0 for all of these x's, we get -2 times 1 times -1 times -3, which yields -6, and the y-intercept on this graph is going to be the ordered pair 0, -6. Now we're going to make a rough sketch of this graph using what we found. We saw that we had 3 x-intercepts, one at -1, one at +1, and one at +3. And as always, we want to label these ordered pairs. We found a y-intercept at 0, -6, and the end behavior of the graph was that both tails are going to be opening down. Because the multiplicity of x is equal to -1 is an even number, we know that we're going to be touching the x-axis and turning around there. So we start from down here in the third quadrant, we approach this first x-intercept, and then we're going to bounce off of that. We're going to come down here, pass through our y-intercept, and once we look at the graph on our calculator, we'll be able to see that this minimum does occur to the right of the y-axis. Then we come up to the next x-intercept. This one has an odd multiplicity, so we'll cross the graph here. When we look at this on our calculator, we'll see that we go up pretty high here for the maximum value. But for right now, we're not exactly sure how high. We'll come back down and pass through this last x-intercept because it has an odd multiplicity, and we'll finish in the fourth quadrant here, again noticing that the in behavior is down on the left and down on the right. Now let's plug this into our calculator and figure out what these maximum and minimum values are. So here on our graphing calculator, we're going to go into the y equals field and input our equation, which is -2 times x plus 1 squared times x minus 1 times x minus 3. And when we initially go to the graph, we can tell that we're going to need to adjust our window in order to be able to see this maximum value. So let's adjust it so that our y maximum is a little higher. Let's take it up to 40 with a scale of 10 and see if that's enough. So this is going to work. We need to find this minimum value, which as you can see is just to the right of the y-axis. So we'll go second calculate, and the minimum value here is number 3. We will go to the left of that minimum, hit enter, give the calculator a right bound, which means go to the right of the minimum, hit enter again. And then the calculator wants us to make a guess at the minimum quantity, so we come close to the minimum value, and we finally see that this ordered pair is at, we'll say 0.22, rounding to 2 decimal places, and -6.45. So let's plot these on our graph here. Our x-coordinate is positive 0.22, and the y-coordinate is negative 0.645. And now it's time to find this maximum. So on our calculator, we'll now go second calculate, and then choose the function that says maximum. Again, we're asked to give a left bound and a right bound, so we'll get close to that maximum value, but stay to the left of it, and then hit enter, which is where we want our calculator to start looking for the maximum. And this is the right bound to the right of the maximum that we're looking for. Hit enter again. Now the calculator wants us to guess, so we'll bring the cursor close to the maximum value and then hit enter again. And the maximum is, at the ordered pair, 2.28 with a y-coordinate of 19.83. So in part F, to find the max and min values, the maximum and minimum values are going to be the y-coordinates of those ordered pairs. We'll start with the maximums. We have a maximum ordered pair right here. The y-coordinate of that ordered pair is 0. We have a second maximum at this point, and the y-coordinate of that ordered pair is 19.83. We only have one minimum ordered pair, and so we'll say the minimum value of this function is going to be the y-coordinate, negative 6.45. In order to determine where the graph is increasing, remember that a where question is answered with an x value, or in this case, an x interval. My graph is increasing in this region and increasing in this region, and we describe those intervals with x values. So we'll say it's increasing from x is equal to negative infinity up to the x value -1. We use brackets on the increasing and decreasing intervals. And then again, it's going to start increasing from the x-coordinate 0.22, and it's going to increase all the way up to the x-coordinate 2.28. In our last question here, we're asked where the graph is decreasing. Again, a where question is answered with an x value or an x interval. The graph is decreasing in this region and in this region. And our first region starts with the x-coordinate -1, and it decreases all the way into the x-coordinate 0.22. So we'll say down here from -1 to 0.22, again using brackets. And then we combine that with the interval that starts at 2.28, and then it's going to be decreasing all the way out to x is equal to positive infinity. So we start at the x value 2.28, and we are decreasing all the way out to the x value positive infinity.